You might think that after Chapter 3 showed us the Roaring Knight in person, and showed us doing a bunch of stuff that no other character, Lightner or Darkner, thought to be able to do, that who is the Knight in theories would die. But you'd be wrong, because there's one person, and one person only, who we know could do these things if he wanted to. He could do anything, you could say. Rouxls card. First things first, let's address a motive. This motive has been present in Chapter 2 in theories, and it has not changed. Rouxls wants to serve big, bad, evil things, the evil necessaries. Rouxls would have perfect motivation to cause the roaring, under basically any interpretation of the roaring. Think the roaring will summon the angel? Bam! He wants to serve the angel. Think it won't? Big, bad, scary titans from Neighbor Jew and Rouxls talks about the roaring. Think the knight doesn't want to cause the roaring at all? Perhaps even better. Rouxls is simply making dark fountains in search of a perfect ruler to serve within said dark world. First king, then queen, then Tenna, and he'd even find one in the church. Perhaps he formed a dark world in the church specifically in an attempt to create a darker version of some big bad in the prophecy, like the angel again, or maybe even a future chapter's boss, or even if you think that the knight is working for someone already, well, the Rouxls is perfectly set. That's what he wants. So, with the motive out of the way, let's address how he could do this, alright? After all, Queen says that only Lightners can make dark fountains, right? Wrong. Queen's wording is very interesting to me. She says, this power of determination, is this not something that all Lightners possess? If one was simply determined enough, could not anyone make a dark fountain? Now, well, she says that all Lightners possess determination, which is necessary to make a fountain. She does not say that Darkners could not also get determination. In fact, she even straight up says, could not anyone make a dark fountain? So I don't think we have to look for a Lightner here. I think we should have to look for someone with determination. And while Lightners are the safest bet, there are 2 Darkners who may also possess it. Rouxls potentially having Undertale saves and loads is a topic for another day. And Rouxls card. Now, I would say that Rouxls has determination. Well, it's a slight reach, and that has to connect back to Undertale, but hear me out. In Undertale, Flowey is the poster child of determination, and he breaks the fourth wall constantly. He has far more knowledge than he should, and knows about game mechanics and various limitations of his world thanks to the powers granted him by his determination. And, conveniently, when Rouxls is in your inventory in Chapter 2, you'll see this flavor text. Or rather, you won't see it because it's cut off, but if you look in the code, you'll see that it says this after it's cut off with a text box. Rouxls knows about the limitations of the game. He knows about text boxes and he was cut off by them. This puts him in the same realm as characters like Sans, Rouxls, and Flowey. If he knows things like this, if he has knowledge of game mechanics, is it such a stretch to believe that he can have determination? But, at the same time, the fact that we have to stretch a bit for this makes sense. Tony wouldn't want us figuring this out only to have a mark of his game. This would be a massive reveal, especially how everyone took Queen's dialogue about determination as meaning only Lightners could have it, so it's natural for it to be kept pretty hidden at this point in the story. But I suspect that starting Chapter 5, we may start getting more concrete hints. Why? Well, in the Fountains of the Prophecy bits in Chapter 4, Queen is referred to as Boss 1, Tenna as Boss 2, and Asgore as Boss 3. This implies that Asgore is going to be the main big bad, so to speak, of Chapter 5, something Chapter 4 lacked. And who was trying to serve the other 2 bosses listed in these prophecies? Rouxls card. Rouxls will appear in Chapter 5 working for Asgore, and that is where we will start seeing the cracks form, exposing that he has determination. Even if you're not going to have determination, just stick with me, okay? The rest of the series will make up for it. It all makes sense, trust me. Now, I don't think Rouxls necessarily has to go to the light world. Don't correct me if I'm wrong, because I do not care, but I don't think there's any dialogue saying the Dark Fountain can't be opened from the inside, right? It's just assumed that they're not, because of the earlier bit about Lightners naturally having determination necessary. But it's more likely that they're opened from the outside, just based on those statistics. But technically, with Rouxls' determination, he could open a Dark Fountain from the inside and skip having to be a Lightner to exit at all. But wait, at the end of Chapter 3, Susie sees someone in the Light World. So who is that? Note that Susie doesn't go, hey, there's Light World Knight. She vaguely says, someone. So, 1, it could be some sort of a Lightner friend that Rouxls has that's on the inside of this plan, perhaps Carol, or 2, Rouxls could just enter the Light World. How? Allow me to introduce you to the most fucked up thing Deltarune has ever thrown at us. The Chapter 3 Rouxls card fight. In this chapter, Rouxls pulls out the Rouxls card and changes the rules of battle to where you can only act. This is insane. It just scares the fuck out of me. People had theorized that Rouxls had these kings of for a long time, but to have it, and Bowser theory to boot, confirmed is something else entirely. So, he could simply use that to change the rules to allow him to enter the Dark World at will. But there's something interesting here. Something weird. If Rouxls' Light World form is the Rouxls card, if he is what a Rouxls card turns into in the Dark World, how and why is he holding a Rouxls card? Not just a Rouxls card even, the Rouxls card, according to the narration. Isn't this a super odd detail to include? I mean, what other place have we seen a Rouxls card that could... Oh god. Do you see it? The Rouxls card that Chris has in their inventory in Chapter 2, alongside the Jack of Spades, is not Rouxls' Light World form. It's Rouxls' Rouxls card. And the idea of a Dark World object remaining the same as the Light World is not unprecedented. In Chapter 3, the same chapter where Rouxls' Rouxls card is introduced also has the Black Shard, which has the exact same name in the Light World as in the Dark World. You could also reason that perhaps the more powerful an object is, the better form it maintains in the Light World. Shadow crystals become glass, Black Shard stays the same. I'd say a card that can literally alter reality would be sufficiently powerful enough to cross that threshold. But then I hear you ask, how did Rouxls get to the Chapter 3 Dark World? Well, Birdly, this was a question that I asked back when I first saw him in Chapter 3, Rouxls that is, and one that I came up with an answer to before I even saw that the cards were still in the Light World inventory at the end of Chapter 2. Throughout the game, we see these great doors that connect to various Light World rooms or the Dark Worlds within them together. It's this door that allows us to get to from the supply closet to the abandoned classroom. It's this door that allows us to get from Chris's house to, well, outside of Chris's house. If these locations can all be connected together through simple doors, as if there's just a wall between them, couldn't there be a way to bypass this wall? Some way to get around it and travel between Dark Worlds without the need of the doors? Some way like teleportation. Rouxls could absolutely teleport straight from whatever Dark World he's in at the moment over to the Dark World in Chris's house to go serve Tenna, and I think that he did. Or, because it seems like I could just create these sorts of will based on the end of Chapter 3, maybe Rouxls just did that to get over to Chris's house. Heck, to get in the supply closet from the abandoned classroom. Maybe Lancer tagged along with him on that escapade, and that's how he got in at the start of Chapter 1. Anyways, I think it's finally time to address the night itself. First off, I don't think we need to worry about how Rouxls could take this form. He could simply use his Rouxls card and make it so that it looks like that. Hey, it makes more sense than a regular little lightner going into the Dark World and becoming this thing and able to do this body horror roar stuff. Anyways, something that has invited a lot of curiosity is what the Knight does to Susie and Rouxls say, swoon. Now, apparently there's a more fitting attack-like definition of this word, but come on, nobody knows about the definition. When you hear swoon, you think like swooning over someone. When I first saw swoon, I thought in my head, damn, the Knight must be hot as hell! You know who else is hot as hell? So, as told repeatedly in various bits of dialogue across the game's chapters, it has several characters swooning for him, one of which even calls him RK, which are initials that he himself has referred to himself with on a note in Chapter 1, and not coincidentally are the same initials as Roaring Knight, Rouxls card. But there's more. Both Rouxls and the Knight seem to be faking their behavior in several ways. Most obviously, Rouxls drops his accent on several occasions, and Toei Fox on a stream even said that it's fake before backtracking. It's also possible that Rouxls was faking his box puzzles in Card Castle too, as all the other puzzles are quite well made, though it's also possible that he's just done nothing as a Duke of Puzzles. For the Knight, it's clearly faking the whole fight, really, practically toying with the party or farming super hard. Only once it loses the fight does it show its real power, the /swoon thing, and wait, it's real power. Dear God, it all makes sense. But there's still one more thing. Rouxls' shop in Chapter 1 is awfully suspicious for many reasons. Why is it in black and white while every other shop in the game, including Sham's shop in the same chapter, are in full color? Why does he resemble Gaster when the black and white is inverted? And why does Rouxls mention that he has an interest in calligraphy? The other two interests that he lists have obvious meanings, even if one is just a joke on long walks on the beach. Well, calligraphy is a super random interest for him to have, and doesn't really have a purpose. Or does it? Wikipedia says that Western calligraphy continues to flourish in the forms of wedding invitations and event invitations, and font design. Font like wingdings. If Rouxls Knight is serving someone, or is doing all this to serve someone, perhaps that someone is Wingaster, the royal scientist, and he is interested in calligraphy in order to read and translate Gaster's wingdings. So Chris is working with the knight, clearly. So Chris is working with Rouxls. Is there any evidence of Chris's connection with Rouxls? There is. In Chapter 4, Chris can start playing a variety of songs on the piano in Noah's house. Of them, 3 songs are related to Rouxls. As a Tunnel of Love, It's Pronounced Rouxls, and an unknown song that motifs Hip Shop. And if we don't count As a Tunnel of Love as a Lancer theme, then Rouxls is the only character who Rouxls plays the themes of. Why? Because they're working with the knight who is Rouxls. They're playing their partner's themes.